What to Play presents the best and worst games of 2019. The play scores an average of gamer and critic ratings. When a game only reaches the minimum requirement of critic or gamer reviews, it receives a provisional play score. We start with the 5 worst rated games.
I remember a time before all of this.
At number 5 is DayZ, the survival game that failed to keep up with the trying times of the industry. What was once revered as one of the best early access titles on Steam is now a shell of its former self. With the BR craze still alive and kicking, DayZ has lost its touch after spending almost 5 years in early access. Fans are disappointed by the devs for the lack of support, communication, and even response, so some players are even asking for their money back. It's an unfinished buggy mess, and it's a shame to see this game fall so down. It has a play score of 6.11 on the PS4 and 5.95 on the Xbox One. Number 4 is Pumped BMX Pro. Pumped BMX Pro looks like a smartphone game that got lost on the consoles. And that's not even the game's worst criticism. As with most driving games, physics and controls are absolutely essential. But unfortunately, that seems like BMX Pro's weakest points. The challenges of its many tracks is more of an exercise in frustration rather than enjoyment. It might scratch that desperate trials itch, but you may be better off with any other alternative. It has a score of a 5.65. Number 3 is Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. The AC series has come a long way, but it's not without its shortcomings. After Ezio's wonderful send-off, it's about time to finally save the world from its prophetic doomsday clock. The American Revolution awaits you in this pivotal moment in history. Hunt down Templars and change the course of time in this remastered version of the 2012 classic. Considered as one of the weakest of the AC titles in terms of scale and content, this remaster doesn't give enough justice to the already underwhelming entry.
Just call me Zio.
Dio.
Zio.
Dio.
Are you touched in the head?
Its messy optimizations, technical issues, and even Uplay are enough reasons for players to give this a measly score of a 5.53 on the PC. Number 2 is Generation Zero. Not a lot of changes in the world of worst games. Still second in the running, Generation Zero's 1980s wasn't meant to be a scenic holiday, but I'm sure it hardly meant to be as tedious as it is too.
You are free to explore the world at any pace and direction.
Scenic, though, is pretty much the only positive response it received. Generation Zero offers a beautiful open world to get lost in, but what most reviewers hated is the sparse feeling you get from being in it. For a co-op focused survival, its lack of in-game chat makes it even more painful. It was an imperfect release, and it continues to do so with play scores of 5.1 on the PC, 6.32 on the PS4, and 5.83 on the Xbox One.
Caution, caution, the enemy is approaching.
And the worst game for the first half of 2019 is Left Alive.
Caution, caution, the enemy is approaching.
Another returning title. 3 months later, Left Alive has been seemingly left dead by the folks at Square Enix. May it rest in peace. When it first came out, it was mostly a disappointing game that brought to its place at the very bottom. Fans look forward to this supposed return to the front mission universe, headed by the veterans of Armored Core and even Metal Gear. But all we got was a mech action game that had nothing to show for except its clunky combat and unreliable AI. There were hopes of changes last time, but they're all but dashed at this point, and we'll surely be seeing this game on the next worst list. It receives a 3.88 on the PC, 5.17 on the PlayStation 4. And on to the good news, we start the 10 best games list with Katana Zero. The beauty of retro-style games is it harkens back to a nostalgic era for gamers, while filling it with the meticulous detail of today's technology. And this is exactly what happens in Katana Zero. It still follows the pattern of most Devolver titles. It's polished, stylish, and it has its own rock and roll embedded into it. But Katana Zero's rock and roll comes not just from its samurai gameplay, but also from its clever cyber-noir narrative, fitting soundtracks, and its satisfying and flashy combat. The reception has been more than positive on the PC with an 8.97, and a provisional play score of 8.32 on the Switch. Number 9 is Amid Evil. The retro renaissance has also reached first-person shooter territory. Fans of Doom might claim this title as their own, but Amid Evil is mostly rooted in classic fantasy FPS like Heretic and Hexen. Despite all that, any fan of Doom could still enjoy its mishmash of monsters and mystical weapons spread across 7 evil worlds. Amid Evil released just a few months after the similarly acclaimed Dusk. With the same and perhaps better retro FPS gameplay, the comparisons were inevitable. But still, Amid Evil is a worthy love letter to its inspirations. Taking on the blocky look well without the clunkiness of its age. It gets a play score of 8.89 on the PC. At number 8 is Supraland. The first thing you can say about Supraland is that they're pretty honest from the get-go, revealing their minuscule environment compared to those of Fortnite's and Skyrim's. Supraland proves that size does not matter. Within 9 square meters and 30 hours of gameplay, it packs an overwhelming amount of charm. From its inviting atmosphere and adorable sprites to its fantastic Portal-inspired puzzles and Metroid-style exploration. Its story of reds versus blues might prove thin for some, but it doesn't matter too much when there's plenty more to discover around every nook and corner. It earns a well-deserved rating of an 8.79. Number 7 is Baba Is You. Indie games are always making do with limited resources, and that's when all sorts of ideas come out from the woodwork. Already winning the top spot in this year's PC Indies list, Baba Is You is a wellspring of creativity. The only rule is that there aren't any at all. Baba Is You challenges you to think outside the box and manipulate the world as you see fit. By just moving around the blocks and letters at your disposal, you can become and change whatever you need to win the puzzles. Between getting the freedom to explore and experiment and that light bulb moment at the end of things, Baba Is You is one rewarding experience after another. It receives a rating of an 8.96 on the PC and a provisional of 8.38 on the Switch. At number 6 is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. While there are games that pay tribute to the classics, Bloodstained is more than that. Koji Igarashi turns vision into flesh once more, and it is something that continues to impress. Play as Miriam, take hold of her many demonic abilities, and vanquish all of the castle's paranormal forces. It is a whole new universe, complete with different lores and characters. But everything will feel familiar to any fan of Igarashi's iconic Castlevania titles. Putting aside Switch's abysmal port, Bloodstained is a success with an 8.88 on the PS4, 8.79 on the Xbox One, and 9.11 on the PC. Number 5 is Kingdom Hearts 3. After a series of major delays and technical challenges, Kingdom Hearts 3 is finally out, and it's been 6 months since then. A decade in the works, this third installment adds more Disney characters into the fray while sacrificing Square's iconic Final Fantasy roster. Follow Sora and his band of Disney brothers as they use the power of friendship to stop the darkness from corrupting the hearts of man. Just like any other KH title, travel to majestic Disney and Pixar worlds. That includes Toy Story, Tangled, Monsters Inc., Big Hero 6, and even Frozen. It is a hot pot of childlike wonder mixed with a stellar hack-and-slash combat and an emotional story that's been with us for almost 2 decades. The game receives a play score of 8.88 on the PlayStation 4 and an 8.14 on the Xbox One.
You ready?
Number 4 is Slay the Spire. 2019 is the year where people finally appreciate the beauty and the depth of card games. Mega Crit Games' Slay the Spire is among the many CGs that survive the trend. Mixing turn-based strategy, cards, and roguelike into one title, this ever-changing gauntlet tests your luck and your deck-building skills. With each level randomly generated, make do with the limited cards you have at your disposal, and fend off a horde of ghastly enemies. It's worth the asking price, and it's praised for its simple design, accessibility, and best of all, its high replay value. Now that's how you make a card game, Valve. Take notes. It receives a play score of 8.75 on the PS4, 9.07 on the PC, and a provisional score of 8.41 on the Switch. Third place is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. The fresh From Software game that gave a number of players and gaming journalists a hard time. Out with the gothic landscapes and in with the beautiful oriental Sengoku era temples, Sekiro challenges new and old players with its ridiculous boss fights, unfair hitboxes, and un-Dark Souls-like combat. At least in this game, you get to use its resurrection feature to rise back up and maybe mess things up again. Parry, strike, and use a variety of ninja and samurai skills to turn the tide of every battle. One thing's for sure about this game, timing is everything. And as cheesy as it may sound, make your sword an extension of your own self. There are only 2 words we could tell you about this game, and it's as important as ever. Get good. It has a play score of 8.88 on the PlayStation 4, 8.44 on the Xbox One, and an 8.83 on the PC. Second place is Devil May Cry 5, another much-awaited title 10 years in the making. This 5th major entry to the Devil May Cry franchise was a long time coming. Return to the demon-whooping adventures of Dante and Nero alongside a mysterious new character as they stop an evil tree from taking over the world. But killing demons is not without style. The game's main objectives aren't just killing them, it's about how stylishly you can take them down. With the new and improved combat system, you get to finally flex those combos in the most badass way possible. There is no doubt about its huge success, and this legendary hack-and-slash title has one of the best combat in a video game ever. It receives a play score of 9.04 on the PS4, 8.83 on the Xbox One, and an 8.89 on the PC.
Whatever it takes to save this city.
Surprised you made it this far.
And the best game for the first half of 2019 is none other than Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Survival's your responsibility.
It's hard not to praise Capcom for their impressive games lately. After a series of stellar titles, the horror game that defined the genre is coming back, and it's finally showing its true form. Join Claire and Leon as they go on a terrible first-day adventure in the mysterious town of Raccoon City. In this reimagined title, shoot down zombie dogs, zombie citizens, zombie scientists, and run away from a hulking brute wearing a fedora determined to crush your head in each passing minute. It is a solid remake and a worthy addition to the Capcom comeback. It receives a play score of 9.28 on the PlayStation 4, 8.79 on the Xbox One, and 9.11 on the PC.